What up, R9Cast? So, you asked a few weeks back for everyone in the All Games community and listening in to R9Cast, whatever way they like to do it, whether it's Stitcher, iTunes, whatever the cool kids are doing these days. But of course, the best way to do it, I'm going to plug for you, allgames.com, and hang out in that chat, or just use the IRC client, hang out in the chat all the time. Stay plugged into the community. All Games, great community. And I'm not just saying that because Always Play Live is part of the family now, officially. But so my Xbox story is pretty cool. Let's see. At the time, I was trying desperately to regain faith in Nintendo. And I was trying to branch out a little bit. I dabbled a little bit with the PlayStation. Wasn't really my thing. And of course, I was one of the people that was milking the crap out of my Sega Saturn and my Sega Dreamcast. So the Xbox, the original Xbox, is just a natural segue. I mean, let's just pull up this controller right here. Look at that thing. Tell me that isn't like a mashup of the original Sega Dreamcast and the analog Sega Saturn controller, which I thought was great. That was the one that they recommended you play. Actually, if you got a bundle of Knights, you would get the big fatty controller, and the analog on that was just amazing. Granted, that was an on-rails experience, but it made you feel like you had a lot more control than you really did. And that was a great game. They could have done more with it, of course, but Knights was really fun. But Xbox, original Xbox, let's say Xbox One, original Xbox, was a no-brainer. I think it's huge. Look at this thing. Oh yeah. Oh. Hey, what'd I do? I didn't do that. So it should have just been a no-brainer. But I was trying to get into the GameCube, and I really enjoyed it. I played a lot of the GameCube games. Metroid Prime was one of them. I can't remember what else I played. I played like Baldur's Gate on there, which is very different from the PC version. And I mean a whole slew of games, but it didn't have the online, and I'm a PC gamer at heart, so that was a big kicker. So at the time I was working at a managed services company that did help desk and database management, basically IT services for companies that wanted to outsource it. And our main thing was call center. So what we used to do is to kind of get our frustrations out, because call center work sucks, whether you're a manager or an analyst, CSR, whatever level you're at. It just sucks because you deal with a lot of irate customers, and you have a lot of you have to deal with ASAs, your average speed of answer, and then you have to make sure you keep the calls. You have to have call control and keep the calls short. But anyway, I digress. For those in the IT field, still, my heart goes out to you. But the Xbox was just a way for us to break the ice. So I got an Xbox Live pretty much at the beginning. Maybe not at the very beginning, but maybe 6 to 8 months into it, when people were just giving me a hard time, like, you don't have an Xbox? Come on, dude. GameCube, it's not a man should not be using the GameCube. So I got the Xbox, and we played the crap out of games like Rainbow Six, Black Arrow, original Ghost Recon 2, Rainbow Six. Was it Vegas that was on the original Xbox? Yeah. I actually really loved Rainbow Six Shutdown. I think that was what it was called. People said that was a terrible game, but the multiplayer in it was so much fun, and it had a slightly different feel to it. It was kind of like, if you think about it, it was a bit of a precursor to Call of Duty as we've come to know it today, because it had the persistent classes and the unlocks and all that good stuff. But the best thing, let me see if I can pull up a picture here. The best thing about having the original Xbox, and we're going back, we're going to bring this back around, if I can find this image. We talk about how it's kind of like the Sega fans' natural upgrade. Oh, that looks terrible. Let's talk about Shenmue II, which one of these days I want to get back into that thing. By the way, if you're wondering why I got this weird background, it's because I'm doing my vlog, and I'm doing my Xbox store as part of my weekly vlog, which I usually put out on Sunday. There's a reason I have cake and a pie fighting each other, so I'm not weird. it's part of an ongoing debate. It's very serious stuff. But yeah, Shenmue 2, I mean, this game was campy as hell, so a lot of people made fun of it because of that. But it really was groundbreaking. The open world feel, the mini games you could do, the exploration, the fighting system, the interaction you had with the environment and the NPCs. You had mundane things you could do, like raise a pet, or I mean, I'm not even gonna get into all of it, but that's a game that I think is worth going back to. And you know, after my experience with the Xbox, I decided that as far as consoles go, I'm an Xbox guy all the way. It's just the kind of games that I want to play. Now that said, my one sore point is how Microsoft handled the transition from the Xbox, the original Xbox, to the 360, and basically shutting down online support. I think that was a bad move on their part, but they really wanted to force people to 360. But the 360 had a long run, and they made up for that. And I think it's still going to last at least 2 or 3 years more until people really feel that the Xbox One has enough content for them to, you know, make that upgrade, make that investment. That's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, I would say I'm a bit of a fanboy, and you know, seeing the kind of Sega tribute. A lot of Sega games were on it. Another one that I liked was Panzer Dragoon Orca, which was a really great on rails kind of shmup. You know, it's just action packed. The story was wild and pretty much incoherent, but boy was it satisfying. So that's my Xbox story. I'm gonna go take a pause here, because I'm going to continue my vlog. But yo, shout out to R9Cast. Thanks for asking the community to do this. I think everybody should do it, whether you have a face for radio or not. You know, here's my ugly mug. Ha! But yeah, it's cool. I'm getting a little nostalgic. I definitely want to talk more about my experience with Xbox. But I can tell you this: there were many days at work when we get together and everybody was tired and we're just taking energy drinks, you know, Red Bull, Jolt, whatever. At the time there was a thing called Balls, but not Balls with double L. It's a BAWLS. It came in like a little blue bottle. We were just loading up on the caffeine, trying to recover from the long night of gaming the day before. Good times. You know, in some ways, I gotta say one more thing. In some ways, the original Xbox had a more social feel to it, and it felt more like, I don't want to say exclusive, it was kind of like a special club to be in. I don't know, it was weird. It had a different feel to it, because when you met someone that had an Xbox, it was like, sweet, me too. Now it's like everybody has an Xbox 360 or Xbox One, and it's still great when you hear the people play on that. But it's not. It lost a little bit of that magic. But I remember what we used to also do is I had one coworker that had a LAN party set up in his basement, where in this setup he's had a bunch of TVs and network cables, and we would just hook up the Xbox Ones, and I had a carrying case. I was gonna show it, but I got it kind of like tucked away in a pile of stuff. But it's this big bag, you know, carrying a heavy, clunky Xbox One, original Xbox. And it had the little vents on the side so you could play with the Xbox in the case and then just zip it back up and take it with you. And it had a big pouch for the headset. Gosh, Microsoft was really bad when it came to proprietary stuff, because you had to get the Xbox communicator and before you could get anything hooked up into it. But on the good side, it was actually kind of more open, actually, because you could use any headset as a Xbox headset, as long as it had a 1/8 millimeter standard mini stereo plug in there, and that was good. You could use cell phone headset or whatever you could find. So there were a lot of accessory options for that original Xbox because of it. I think they got, in a way, they gotta kind of borrow some pages from when they did right in those times. But you know what? Let me just say, that controller. Let me pull that controller back up. I actually really like this controller. People made fun of it, you know. Anti-Xbox people were like, "Oh, that controller. You need a back brace in order to use it." Wee, look at the Xbox controller flying. Oh yeah. All right. So I'm sorry, this is a long video. But yeah, thanks R9cast. You're awesome. And I'm gonna keep moving. Hope you enjoy my Xbox story.